Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives. My name is Dana Bosselman, and I am the integrative and functional dietitian here at Lifescape Premier. This is our monthly meeting, and I'm so glad to have you joining me. This is a special edition program because I am making a recipe from the up-and-coming 1 week away Reimagine, Reset, and Renew. That's my signature program that I offer usually a couple times a year, and we're starting off with this January 13th, and you still have plenty of time to sign up. There's lots of information on the Lifescape website, or you can email me directly or anyone here at the facility, and we'll be glad to share the information with you. I'm going to talk more about that program a little bit later in the show, but what I wanted to do is let you all know that the recipe that I'm making today is from our all new menu for the program, and it's a 3-bean salad with roasted beets and almonds. Super yummy, very filling, nutritious, just what we need when the mornings are a little bit cooler and we feel like something heartier for lunch or maybe even for breakfast. You guys know me, I like to eat food any time of the day. It doesn't have to be a breakfast food or a lunch food, it's just food. So let's go ahead and make this salad together. I'll give you a little bit of nutritional tips as we go, and then I'll talk about the program in a little more detail and what that's all about. So what we want to do to get started is get everything ready. If you're cooking along with me, then that's fantastic. And I am a big fan of getting all of the ingredients out ahead of time and getting them chopped or roasted or baked or prepared so that all you have to do is combine. And when I watch professional chefs cook, this is always what they do. And so what I've got going on here is I've pre-chopped my onions into nice little thin slivers. I've pre-roasted the beets, which the recipe does call for. Now here's the deal. The recipe says that you want to take the entire beet, so that's actually the beet root, and you wrap it up in foil after you cut off the tops, the leaves, and then bake it for up to an hour. You can do that, but if you wanted to go faster, you have options. One of the things that I did, because I wanted it to go faster, is I cut my beets up into little squares. I put some olive oil on top, spread them out on a baking sheet, and roasted them at 425 for, I think it ended up being about 40 minutes, 30 minutes, just to get them nice and sweet. These are like candy. If you offered one of these roasted beets to a younger person, they would think you were giving them candy. They're so sweet and so delicious. And remember, you can use the orange beets or the red beets. This recipe calls for red. Or you can do a mixture, because one of the themes that I like to keep bringing up over and over is diversity in the foods that we eat, and within foods, the colors. Those are the phytonutrients, or the plant's natural defense against predators, or to keep it surviving and thriving. But those phytonutrients give us tremendous benefits. So you can roast the beet that way, or you don't even have to roast the beet in the salad. You can just grate it or chop it up and have it raw. So it's up to you. If you roast it, it's going to be a lot sweeter, and it's a real treat. And then also we have our green beans. This is another way you can shortcut. These are organic petite green beans, frozen, and I just defrosted them gently. So they're ready and good to go. You can buy fresh green beans and chop them and steam them. That's fine too. But what I want to point out is all of these recipes in the program and in life in general, if we kind of screen out globally, are adaptable and adjustable to how involved you want to get. Some of us really like getting in the kitchen and doing every single thing from scratch. That's awesome. But if you're one of those people that are like, well, this is all kind of new to me, and I'm open to doing something different, but it's a little overwhelming and I'm not sure if I can do it, then take some of the shortcuts and it's fine. I always tell people, don't cut yourself short on quality, because that's really what matters. And so frozen green beans are just as good a quality as fresh green beans. It may be a taste preference for you perhaps. So I just wanted to point that out too. And also, just circling back really quick to the beets, that top of the beet, the leafy green, don't throw that away. That's really, really nutritious leafy greens like spinach. Really fantastic in a salad or sauteed. And then the other thing we've got are almonds. And I went ahead, and again, here's a quick tip for you, a little pearl, a cooking pearl, is you can buy them slivered. That's fine. I bought these whole raw. And I just threw them in my food processor for 30 seconds and just pulsed it. And then it gave me this nice little rough chop, and I'm good to go. You can sit there and put the almonds on a cutting board, and you can go like this with your knife and cut them into pieces too. All of it's fine, it just depends. This may be more therapeutic for you, or just throwing that blender on may be more therapeutic. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. And then I did a little sub. I'm going to use basil, fresh basil in the recipe. It calls for dried basil, but if you can find fresh basil and you want that, it's a really nice flavor enhancer. And remember, herbs are some of your best sources of phytonutrients. They're really, really worth the effort. So, and then the last thing we've got are the bulk of the salad itself, which are the beans. And here you can see I've opened them up, and I bought these organic canned, and then I opened them and drained them and rinsed them. And so we've got great northern beans, red kidney beans, and black-eyed peas. You can make these from scratch. If you want to buy the beans dried, soak them, and then pressure cook them or stovetop cook them, also completely fine. If you're cooking beans, I just recommend that you make a bigger batch and then freeze some of it so you don't have to do it over and over again. Also, if you're sensitive to the effects of beans on your GI tract, you might want to cook them yourself and put a little piece of seaweed in the cooking water. It's called kombu, K-O-M-B-U. And that helps break down the phytics or the phytic acid in the beans that causes that digestive upset for some people. But beans are super nutritious. They're high in fiber, they're good sources of B vitamins, and they're our most obvious source of plant protein. For those of you who are moving towards more of a plant-centric diet, these are something that you want to include. Also, because of the fiber in these beans, it's mostly soluble, that's going to give you a boost up on decreasing cholesterol. Not a bad thing. Also, beans are, because of the fiber, help lower blood glucose levels. So if you're wondering about how well you're going to manage your blood sugars or those you love, this is a good option for them. Also, the final thing is that beans offer what I call fermentable fiber. And that means that the fiber in the beans becomes fuel for your gut bacteria so that they can produce all of those healthy substances that help every single organ system in your body. So not a bad, multiple benefit food as long as you tolerate it. So what I want to do is just quickly mix everything together. So I've got a nice big bowl here, and I will show you everything here as we go. So I'm going to now get these beans mixed up. I'm just putting them in the bowl and just very gently mixing them around. So we have some color in here. You can use different beans if you want. You can make pinto, you can use black, adzuki, anything that you want to play around with. I think that would be fine for this recipe. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is add the green beans. And that's going to go in together. So now that's giving us some nice color. Remember, we eat with our eyes and our nose, not just our mouth. We actually eat with our eyes first and then our nose second. So already this is looking more attractive to me. I'm more likely to want to eat this because the color combination is drawing me. So then you've got your beans in there. We're going to add in the onion. And you guys, I just remembered that part of this recipe calls for parsley. I bought parsley and I left it in the fridge. So it's a good thing I have fresh basil to kind of boost the flavor. And that happens in cooking. Sometimes you don't even have the ingredient while you're getting everything ready, but it's not something critical. If I didn't have the beans, we'd be in trouble. We'd have to rethink it. So here I am mixing the onions in together. If red onion is too strong for you, then you can use a different type of onion. You can use a yellow onion. Those are a lot sweeter. I like the contrast of the sharp onion in this kind of dish myself. Or you can make the onion even smaller, so you can dice it up. So there we go. We've got this so far. And then my favorite are the beets. I really had to restrain myself from eating these, you guys, once they were cooked, because they taste so amazingly good. So I'm just mixing these in now and making a bunch of clanky noise over here. And beets are amazing food. They're really good actually for producing nitric oxide in the body. That helps us regulate our blood pressure. So not something to miss out on. This, you guys, already without any dressing, I could just eat this without any dressing. It looks so fantastic. And the staff are going to be excited here because they are working really hard managing everything, and they're going to love having something healthy to come nosh on in a little bit. So you can see this looks fantastic. It smells, just the beets alone smells so fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. Now that we've got all of the ingredients mixed up, minus the parsley, sorry, apologies, I am going to go ahead and get the basil. And when you buy it fresh like this, this is a Thai basil, and it's just this different variety of basil. Sometimes it has little flowerets on it, and you can eat the flowers. Those are all edible. Sometimes it's nice if you use the flowers. If you're more artistically inclined, you can use them to decorate the dishes once you put it out to serve. So there's lots of different ways to use the food. We have to think about our food as art sometimes. You know, that's a nice way to put it together. I think of chefs, true chefs, as artists because they use food to create a picture and even tell a story, if you think about it. So think of what kind of story you want to tell and entice your family and your friends to enjoy new dishes. So that's a big part of what this whole program is about, sort of circling back to the Reimagine. We named it that this time because I wanted everyone to have the idea of, we're thinking about how can you reimagine your relationship to food and make it a healthier relationship. Maybe it is already healthy. Maybe just deepen the relationship, make it more mindful. Okay, so I've got a nice little pile here, and I'm just going to chop this up real quick. Sorry, I can't have you see me, but I'm just going like this, where I'm using the knife to work for me. So you don't want to, go like this. If you hold one side down and then chop it, it's much more effective. And again, the smell when you're cutting a fresh herb is just, sublime. And remember, don't scrape your blade on the cutting board. You want to turn it upside down and then scoot your food back into a pile and then re-chop. And then what a lot of chefs will do is they'll scoop the blade underneath the food and then use that to sprinkle it onto your dish. So I'm doing that. I'm not sure which chef I saw that showed me that, but you can see here's the basil on top of the dish. And we'll leave it at that. We can add a little bit more if we want. But it's a nice switch. The recipe calls for dried basil, which is fine too, if you have that on hand and you'd rather use that. But the fresh is really special, I would say. Okay, so let's make the dressing. It's nice if you have a measuring cup. You can just measure directly into the cup, or you can measure and then, whisk it up in a bowl. So what we're going to do is start off with the base, which is the oil. I like to use extra virgin olive oil, organic. It's Napa Valley, kind of what's the word? foreshadowing, because Dr. Welder and I are going to attend a conference in Napa Valley from the Culinary Institute of America, and we're going to learn even more about healthy kitchens, healthy lives, and bring that home to you afterwards. So with that, we're going to use a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So I've got that here, and I'm just going to measure that out. And I might need to do that on the ground so I can see that it's level. And if you need more dressing, you can always make more. So we've got a 1/4 cup there. And then I'm going to whisk that all into this smaller bowl as we work our way through the measurements. The next thing on the dressing is this rice vinegar. This is just a real pure, simple distilled vinegar. You can use different kinds if you like, but this is a nice recommendation. So this one is a 1/3 cup. So I'm going to go ahead and get that measured. And for those of you guys who know me, I don't usually measure that much. So this is kind of new for me. I decided that I would actually do that to make sure the dressing worked out perfectly. So there's my 1/3 cup, and I'm mixing that into the oil. And then we've got a tablespoon of honey. This one I'm pretty confident of how to gauge it, so I'm just going to squeeze some of the honey in. Remember that honey can help us with our natural immunity towards allergies if it's local honey, so that's okay. A little bit of natural sugar is fine to have in your diet. The scope of the amount of sugar over this whole amount of this whole bowl per serving, you're not going to get that much, but it adds to the senses and the flavors and the taste buds. So you want to think about that. Cooking is about layers of flavors. So you want to think of cooking like the acronym FAST. It's fat, acid, salt, and sweet. FASS. Fat, acid, salt, and sweet. So we're doing that. We've got olive oil, we've got vinegar, we've got a little bit of honey. So let's move on to the rest of it. We're going to do some mustard. And this one is 1/2 teaspoon of dried mustard. So this is ground mustard seed. And you could use prepared mustard too. Just want to be careful of the quantities. And then I'm going to put in some tarragon. This is a really nice complementary spice to a bean dish or a heartier dish. You could also think of tarragon with fish. That's another way that you can use it. And this is going to be 1 teaspoon. So we're going to go 1/2 and 1/2 again. Okay, I'll show you everything here in just a second. And then we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. A lot of you have been probably hearing about the benefits of turmeric. When it's in supplemental form, we call it curcumin. And turmeric is a spice used a lot in East Indian cooking. And it's a potent anti-inflammatory. So this is great to blend into your dishes, and it has a beautiful golden color. But it is strong, so don't overdo it because it can take over the flavor pretty easily. Okay, so here we go. We've got this nice, you can see how that looks. And then I'm just doing the whisk with my fork. If you have an actual whisk, like a little mini whisk, you want to use it, that's fine too. Some of us have a lot of kitchen gadgets that we enjoy using. That's part of the fun of being in the kitchen, is having special utensils and things to do. But this is making a beautiful golden robust dressing. Hopefully you guys can see that the glass bowl is clear enough. And the honey is adding a little bit of thickness to it. We're not adding any salt to this per se, but you can taste it, and maybe if people want to add a little bit of pink mineral salt or sea salt, that's fine. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to switch over here, and then I'm just gonna whisk the, sorry you can't see this perfectly, I'm just whisking the dressing right on top of the salad. And then the recipe says for best flavor, let it marinate overnight in the refrigerator. And I do agree, that's gonna deepen the flavors. But it doesn't mean you can't eat it right away. So it's up to you how you wanna go. This is a nice dish to have in advance, made in advance, and then as a quick go-to during the week ahead of you. So I'm just turning and tossing. I am so happy with how this turned out, you guys. I'm just loving it. This is one of the many flavorful, nutritious recipes in the core food plan, which is what we're featuring in the Reimagine program coming up in 1 week. If you want to still register, you have plenty of time. If you don't feel like you want to make all the food on the plan, you want to make some of it or none of it, Chef Celine is here. She's offered to make the plan for us. You can connect with her and she can give you all the details. We have information on the site too as to how to go about ordering and what she can do and when. She's going to make all the food in her commercial kitchen and then deliver it to your door. Pretty cool. So for me, I would see that being beneficial to have some of the meals made that way, and then I would want to make some of the meals on my own just because I love being in the kitchen. All right, you guys, here we go. Ta-da! And because I am going to serve this right away, I'm going to sprinkle on some of these almonds and let the staff enjoy that. And then I'm going to keep some almonds on the side because if you're like me, you like to add a little extra as you go along. So here's our dish. Everything is made pretty quickly and pretty efficiently. And we'll let everyone give that a try. You could add a little bit of additional protein to that if you wanted to make it even a heartier meal, or it can certainly stand on its own as a complete dish. So with that being said, I want to talk just a few minutes about the Reimagine program and what it's all about. Basically, the concept of the program is that we're using food as medicine. I always tell people food can be your best medicine or your worst medicine, right? Depending on what kind of food. So if you're know somebody or there's somebody relying on fast food as their primary source of nutrition, that's bad medicine because it doesn't have any good information for the body. It tells the body to go inside out, essentially. So we want to focus in this program on building a foundation of eating that's balanced. So we look at healthy fats and proteins and carbohydrates that are low in refined simple sugars, and create this foundation where you can always eat this way. It's not a fad, it's not a gimmick, it's just real whole food. And the menu is designed to demonstrate that and help you along the way. Then also what this program is looking at is we're even taking a bigger approach. So we have this pillar, we have multiple pillars, and one of them is food, but the other ones are also super important. So they're how we sleep and how we move and what our community and connection and relationships are like with ourselves and with others. And if we don't think about all of those aspects in concert, we're not going to be as successful or as happy ultimately. So this program offers something new this time. I'm bringing in Tina Duffy. She's a fantastic health coach, and she is going to offer 3 sessions throughout the length of the program to help keep you motivated and engaged and ask questions. Everything's going to be on Zoom, so you can interact or not. You can watch it later on recording, and that, I think that's going to add another layer of support that I find people really thrive on, is having that personalized approach. And then she can also work with you after the program if you want to hire her to do that, so that's an option. And so we're looking at helping everybody create optimal health here with these cooking classes, with the program in general, with everything we do at Lifescape. It's not just about fixing a problem and sending you off with a Band-Aid. It's about figuring out why is that problem going on, and then how can we address that so you don't ever have to have it again. That's in the ideal world, that's what we're trying to do. So we're taking real food and we're using that to crowd out processed food. So you take away the bad stuff and put in the good stuff, as Mark Hyman always says, Dr. Hyman, and good things happen. It's really cool. The length of the program is about, the diet part is 7 days. The whole program lasts 10 days because there's a preparation phase. But even in that amount of time, I think you'll notice a difference in how you sleep, what your energy is like, what your mental agility is like, your attitude towards things in general. Lots of shifts can be made actually in a short period of time. And there's worksheets and there's support. So it's really something worthwhile. Your friends can join in. They don't have to be LifeScape members. They can live in a whole nother state. It's virtual. It doesn't matter. So all of that works. And really what we're thinking about here is an attitude of abundance. I was just speaking with a patient yesterday who got a food sensitivity test back, and she has a lot of primary foods on there that she's used to eating that need to come off for a while. And I said, let's think of this as an opportunity to embrace variety and abundance, and then see what things can come back later once everything's clear, when the body tells us what's right and what's not right. So I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about the program and share it before it starts, because this is really pertinent to what's going on in our world. Everybody knows COVID, if you look at the graphs, the cases of COVID have gone like a black diamond ski run, which is not the direction we want to see. So let's all get metabolically healthy together and then share that excitement and gift with everyone around us. And I'll tell you, when I eat this way and my patients eat this way, we feel fantastic. We feel so much better. So I'm here to support you. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives. Can't wait to nosh on this beautiful salad. Let me know how yours turned out. You can put comments in the comment bar down below. You can always reach me through LifeScape. You can email me at dana@lifescapepremier.com. And if you have any questions about the program or need some dietary help in general, just privately, let me know. I'm so happy to help you. With that being said, go out there, enjoy, have a fantastic day, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you so much, and be well.